Hello, good people of the world out there. This is Jairus Withrow, and welcome to this lesson where I'm going to teach you how to play James Bay's slightly more obscure tune called When We Were on Fire. Now, he's so famous and popular that even obscure songs are getting millions of views, so you still might know it. But it's one of my favorites of his. I think he released it in about 2014. And well, first of all, I love James Bay stuff just because I think I sound like him. I think our voices kind of sound the same. Leave a comment if you think that's not true, or if you think it is true. So that's why I really love playing this one. It just matches my voice so well. And the version I do now, he is doing it where he's actually lowered the tuning on his guitar by a whole step, and so I think he's playing in like C structure and with it all lowered. But I know most people, they don't have the time to lower their guitar that much. They, especially when I'm gigging, if I'm using one guitar, I'm typically in standard or only lowered about half a step. And so I found that there's a really great way to play this song that still sounds massive and driving and all those good things by just having that capo on the 3rd fret. So make sure you got a capo for this song, because that is how we're going to learn it. So a couple things about this video as we dive in. First of all, there are timestamps. So if you're a little more advanced and you just want to jump around to whatever part you want, make sure you use the timestamps to find the content you want. The second thing is there is a video where I'm actually playing the whole thing and singing along to it. So that's in the description. There's also an instrumental version if you just want me playing the guitar with no vocals as well. And so I think that's it about this video. Let's dive into learning it. The first thing that we want to talk about is just 2 techniques that are really crucial and integral to this song. They both use our palm, but you might not be familiar with them. Okay, so I just want to make sure you know them. The first one is called a muted strum. It's this nice crack, this percussive sound that is emulating a snare drum, typically playing on beats 2 and 4, just like a drum kit would. Crack, right? That crack. Well, we're also on beats 2 and 4 in this song, making that percussive sound. We put the side of our palm, so it's actually the side, not like the flat part, but like the side of it, on all the strings. It's touching all 6, and then we rake our pick across just like a normal strum. So it's 2 things at once. It's a strum and it's pulling our hand in to touch the strings. If you find that some of the strings are doing this, that just means that your hand is just not, it's not touching all of them, right? It's very obvious if you're muting them all or not, right? Because you can hear a string or not. So as you practice this, you should be able to figure out that technique, see what you got to do with your hand to actually make it. Sometimes the timing can be a little weird. You got to get used to that. Your hand's way up here. It's just coming down out of the air real fast. And that's how we're going to do it in the song. It's in the air and you're just strumming the strings, but you pull your hand in as you do it. Oop, you see how my high E string rang out just a little bit there? So that's the first technique. The second one is called a bouncing palm mute, which is different than a regular palm mute. Normally a regular palm mute, your hand is stationary, it just sits there on the saddle, right? But in this one, we're gonna bounce our hand to give more resonance for that palm mute. It's in between a palm mute and a regular strum, right? Regular palm mute, strum, bouncing palm mute is somewhere in between. So again, it's about the timing. At the same exact moment that my string, or my pick, strikes the strings, the side of my hand, my side of my palm, is going to touch basically the low E, A, and D, maybe the G string as well. And if I time them just right so that I'm palm muting while I strike it and then lift my hand off very quickly, it allows the guitar to resonate like that, and it gives a bigger, fuller, more resonant palm mute sound. That's probably a little more tricky than this one, because on this one, at least you can leave your hand on the strings, but on this one, it has to be just right, lined up just right. So if you need to pause it, practice that. You don't have to get it perfect, but I just want you to know about it because we're going to be using that a lot in the intro and the verse. Speaking of, let's get to those. So this intro, right? Let's make sure we've got our capo on 3. I'm going to be referring to this fret right here, which would actually be our 4th fret. but I'm going to refer to it as the first fret, and then just so on, second fret, third, fourth, fifth. Okay, just so that we're all on the same page. And we're just doing an E minor shape. Now I'm saying shape because this isn't actually E minor. This would be, what would this be? This would be like G minor, right? But if we didn't have a capo and I was playing it down here, it would be an E minor. So I'm going to refer to it as an E minor shape. This is the same way that we would do E minor down here, but it's technically G minor, right? So I use my second and third fingers on this, on the second and second frets of A and D, and that gives us that traditional sound. So I'm doing that bouncing palm mute that we just talked about in the previous section. The whole thing is basically a bouncing palm mute. The cool thing about this whole song also is our strumming hand is just doing downs the whole time. Now sometimes I might do an upstroke here and there, but honestly, you can just do downstrokes the whole time and it's going to sound great. So if that helps simplify things for you, then just don't worry about any upstrokes at all with this hand. Everything is just down, 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 down the whole time, right? The thing that's creating the rhythm is our chording hand over here. Notice how I'm hammering on, it creates that little 16th in there. And then I slide into, okay? So that's what we're about to learn. So get that bouncing palm mute. When I start off the first strike of it, 1E is 1E, right? The count, 1E. So I'm doing a bouncing palm mute on all open strings, and my pick is, again, just hitting kind of low E, A, D, G in that area, not really getting to the B and high E at all. And I'm hammering those two fingers on into place, right? As soon as I strike it. Hammer, hammer. Think of it like that. Hammer, hammer. So I can say it, and it creates the beat, right, as I say it. 1E, hammer. Okay, and then we just keep going like this. 1 and 2 and a 3 and a 4 and. So just do this with me. If you need to get used to it, I'm gonna take it nice and slow. Hammer, 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 hammer. Cool. And then after we do that, we add in this. Ooh, we slide into it. Oh, listen to that complexity. Beautiful. Here's how I do that. I'm using my third finger, okay, and I'm putting it on the third fret, actually, of the A string to start out. So third finger, third fret A, and then my first finger is first fret on the G. Oops, yeah, that's it. Like that, and then I only stay on there for just a second, and then I slide them up one fret each, a half step, up to 4 and 2, right? Frets 4 and 2. So frets 3 and 1, sliding to 4 and 2. So practice that. It's got to be a really super quick blum, blum kind of sound. And then I think we strum, what is it? 1, 2, 3 times. So the slide counts as the first strum. You're strumming and sliding. So 1, 2, 3, and then on the fourth one, we just release our first finger. So practice that as many times as you need, okay? And then we just repeat that again. Back to the bouncing palm mute and the hammer, right? Here it is all together. And you can let the bouncing palm mute off if you want, so it's all open, or you can keep the bouncing palm mute on. Whatever your heart desires. That's the intro. Let's look at the verse. So the verse is almost the same as the intro. It's just we're going to insert a C over G shape and then a D add 4 shape with a stop and a slide in it. Okay? And that's really the only big difference. So let's talk about how we do that, and then I'll actually play it all together so you can play along with it. So C over G shape, the way I do that, third finger is on the third fret of the low E. Pinky is right beside it, third fret on the A. Middle finger, second fret of D. G is open. First finger, first fret of B, and high E is open. Traditional C over G shape. okay? And we're just doing that bouncing palm mute. It's like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and on the and, right before the 1, okay? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. We just slide the shape up a whole step. It means 2 frets to that D add 4 shape. And then we do this 6 times, I think it is, if I were just to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2, 3, dun, dun, dun. All right, notice that I've started off doing the bouncing palm mute, but then I just gradually let it off. And then after that 6th one, we just cut off that sound with the side of our palm. We just stop all the strings. Very obvious, right? Just a pure, absolute silence there. And when we do that, we fill in that space to allow us to go back to the hammer-on progression, doing this little subtle blues slide. Man, this is such a common blues technique. It takes the certain amount of pressure. If you press too hard, it sounds kind of silly and clownish. It's like too loud. If you don't press down hard enough, you only hear the sliding of the strings. You don't actually hear a tone, a pitch changing. So you have to just get it just right. I'm using my 3rd finger. I like that one. It just feels right to use that one. It applies a very light amount of pressure. And I go somewhere up about my 14th, 15th fret, and I press it down just barely so that I hear that tone, right, as I slide down. Okay? And that leads us, literally, it leads us down into back to the hammer-on, E minor shape progression. Okay? So if I play all that together, if I start on that C over G shape, it goes like this. Ready, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, slide, hammer on. Back to it, right? Same progression as our intro as well. Intro and verse, same thing's happening here. So let's see. Right, we're just playing through it nice and easy. We go to C over G here. 2, 3, and 4, and 2, and 3. And then what we would do to finish the verse is we actually just go to E minor. We go, send us back to right? Just one measure of it, to the sun. And it might do a little push where it comes in before the 1. 2, 3, and 4, and. Yeah, it does. It comes in on that last and 1, and 2, and 3. And we just do that D add 4 shape again, and that takes us into that chorus. Now I know, right? Real loud. And that's your verse. So the chorus has nice simple chord shapes. Nothing too crazy about the chorus itself. You might think, if you haven't done this G chord shape before, you might think that that's funky, but other than that, it's just kind of specific rhythms. This is so rhythmic, highly rhythmic. That's really the challenge of it, I think. Again, just let your strumming hand just do the driving. It's just going down, 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 down. It doesn't have to do any upstrokes if you don't want. You can add some if you're feeling comfortable. But honestly, it'll sound awesome if you're just doing all downs, pretty much the whole thing. You might lift your hand off. You might see me lift my hand off, but I'll still do a strum, right, to keep the time. So you might see me do something like that, right? Okay, you can just leave that hand, leave it going. So it starts out like this. Now I know, right? I know. Okay, so you see that little walk down. And we're losing B7 shape, E minor, D add 4, stop, 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 and G. We do the walk down again, B7. I'm just walking you through it. Shines no more. C over G. G shape, walk down. A minor shape. Was with E minor. And here's my favorite part. G shape. On, off, fire. Okay, so you see what I mean by lots of different rhythms on this. It's not just dun, dun, dun. We've got chat, dun, chat, on and off, all sorts of stuff. Okay, so I'm just going to take you through it slow. So let's just start playing the chorus. We start with that C over G, nice and loud, just driving. Now I know, okay? I know. And we can actually do a muted strum. So we're bringing in this concept now on the fourth beat. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So we're always doing like 4 on beat 4, right? Our muted strum, and then the and right after it. We're switching to the next chord. 2 and 3 and 4 and. All right? So we do that muted strum. We jump to a G chord shape. Now, you might not be familiar with this shape. Maybe you are. If you are, awesome. I love it. This is my favorite shape because it lets these fingers be free to do other stuff. Oh, it's so nice. Right? So many cool things with that. So this shape, your third finger's on the 3rd fret of the low E. And it can be nice and flat. It doesn't have to be super curved up because you want it to actually lay over and mute your A string. So 3rd fret on low E, muted A string with that same finger. D, G, and B are open, and then pinky's on that high E 3rd fret. Gorgeous G chord. All right, and that's the start of it. So just leave those fingers there. Let's start driving. So we go ready and dun, 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 dun. And now we're gonna go da, 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 da. So let's talk about how we do that. First finger goes down. We do a single strum of your first finger on the 1st fret of the B. Creates a G sus shape. And then we release it. Play G again regular. Then our middle finger goes down on the 2nd fret of the G. Sounds like that. Ooh, gorgeous chord. And then we lift it off and just play regular G. And that gives us that feeling of it's like walking down. Ba-da-da-da. Like that. All right, and we're gonna do that several times in this chorus. So if I take it from the beginning, now I know that we're losing. All right, so now we're to our B7 shape. And you might be used to playing B7 with your pinky on the high E, but I'm gonna take that off. Let it be open, create a little more complexity, a droning note, right? Can drone between our chords. So my low E is muted, and you can mute that with your thumb or with your middle finger if you can put it up there in the gap between the strings, butt up against the side of the low E, touch it. That's the way I do it. So middle finger, 2nd fret of the A. It's making that one work. 1st fret, first finger, 1st fret on the D. 3rd finger, 2nd fret on the G, and then B and high E are open. Pretty chord. Losing light. All right, and then E minor shape, just 4 strums. Love. I think it's just 4. Yeah. Okay, and then we go up to D add 4 after the E minor. And then we slide back to C over G. Out cold on. And we're just doing like 3 staccato. The way I do that is after I play the C over G shape, I release the pressure on my fingers. I don't take them off the strings, I just release the pressure. And then I also use the side of my palm here to touch as well. So I'm releasing the fingers from the pressure on the chord, and then I put that down as well. And it creates absolute silence in between each chord. We do that 3 times. Out cold on the floor. And then back to our G shape, right? Back to it. Pinky on high E, 3rd finger on low E. And we do the walk down. 1st finger off, middle finger off. Okay? And then B7 shape again. So we've just made the round, right? We went through the chord shapes and now we've done them again. Star that shines no more. All right, C over G shape. Take me. All right, again on that 4th beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, and. All right. So now, after we do all that, we hit an A minor shape. Back to where it was before. So we got that A minor. We mute our low E with our thumb. That's real important. A lot of people don't mute that. And if we want a pure, clear A minor, we want to mute our low E with our thumb. A's open, second and third fingers on the second frets of D and G, first finger on the first fret of B. High E's open, right? Back to where it was B. Then regular E minor shape. Oh, when. And then on the word when we switch to the D add 4 shape. You got to be good at making that big jump, right? To the third and pinky fingers on that 5th fret, right? When we were on. Slide it down back to C over G. 5. Now this is real rhythmic here, okay? We're doing a lot of stuff here with the rhythm, or starting and stopping, you know, muting strings. Fire. So when we were on fire, you're gonna play C over G with the muted strum G. Fire. It matches the word fire, right? Fire. And then we're gonna do this interesting chord shape. Now we're gonna have our first and middle finger down at the same time, but the middle finger's on a different string this time. So first finger, we're gonna go have it down, first fret of B, and then middle finger is on the second fret of D this time rather than G. D string, right? And we strum it, and then we cut it off with the side of our hand. We do it twice like that. We cut it off, then release the fingers, G, back on, and then back off again. So put them back on, and then we play it twice, cut it off. 1, 2, off, on, off. Dun, 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 dun. All right? So there's that. And then to end the chorus, it goes A minor again. Fire, fire. A minor to E minor shape. Fire. And then D add 4 does the last chord, and then verse 2. So that's the chorus. There's a lot of rhythmic stuff. I'm gonna take it real slow, play through the whole thing, and then we'll learn the bridge, okay? So here's the chorus. So 1, 2, 3. Now I know that we're losing light. Yeah. E minor to D add 4, and then C, we stop it. Cold on the floor. Then walk down, B7 for a longer time. Shines no more. Yes. And then C over G, stop G. And we do the walk down, A minor, stop E minor, D add 4, C and G. Here we go. On, off, A minor and E minor. And then D add 4 to end it. And then back to our verse. So that's the chorus. Well, now we're going to learn the bridge. So the second verse, second chorus, you can play it exactly the same, right, as the first verse and first chorus. And then once we finish that second chorus, we go into the bridge. And it's kind of like the intro progression, but I like to fancy it up a little bit. James Bay does too. And so instead of doing as big of a bouncing palm mute as I might have in the intro, I bring it down. I make it more subtle. It's more like a regular palm mute. Okay? Now I add an extra chord here. I go. I do different variations depending on what mood I'm in, right? How long I hold each one. But this chord right here, it's so pretty. Third finger's on the 5th fret of the A. And then middle finger's on the 4th fret of the D. And then all the rest are open. Ooh, gorgeous chord. Listen to the complexity on that. So you do that, and then you just slide back to that intro chord that we did. Third finger on the 4th fret of the A. First finger, 2nd fret of the G, right? So you might practice just going between those chord shapes. So again, that middle finger's on the D, and then when we slide down, our first finger goes to the G, right? And then keep it more subtle, keep it sounding smaller, more of a regular traditional palm mute. So, oh, now don't tell me no, that we're burning down. hear that chord in there in between. If you just want to make this simple, just keep doing the hammer-ons, right? Like we did it in the intro, over and over. We're burning down. Do that 5/4 chord. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, 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 oh. Now don't tell me no, that we're burning down. And then you can mix it up whether you want this one or this one. I do it differently every time. I like to just change it up. And then now I know. And then we go into a soft chorus. So the soft chorus, when I do it, I like to finger pick it. I might do a slightly different pattern each time. It's just the chorus chords again. If the finger picking is a little too much for you, just take that pick, put it in between your first and middle finger. You just lay it on the side of your middle finger, close it over with your first, and then you just use your thumb. It makes it soft, right? It gives that different lower dynamic level. Now I know, you play that C over G, I know that we're losing light, our love is dying. You can do that finger picking, you just kind of pick in a row, start on the bass note if you want. Out cold on the floor, like a falling star. Now I do something different than what James Bay does here. I like to make it real dramatic. So when I've reached to this B7 chord, like a fall, I pick that pick back up. I pick the pick back up off of my middle finger and I grab it again and I start to build it. So you might see me go, you see me switch right there, falling star, sun's no more, and I get real loud. It's like the climax of everything. No more, and then we're just back into the chorus, right? Regular. So still the same chords that we've been playing, just strumming full out. No more, take me. Walk down. A minor was before. D at 4, C, G. Fire. We do a tag. We do a D at 4, C. We just tag it, meaning we repeat the last part again. A minor. Oh, and there's the end, right? So basically the soft chorus turns into the regular chorus, and then we just tag it at the end and boom, end real hard on that E, and then instead of just letting it ring out forever, I might do that to actually end the song real abruptly. So there's the tune. Review any parts you need. Remember, there's videos of this where you can play along with me to the whole thing. Of course, if you're watching this on YouTube, it's got that playback speed function. You can slow it way down if you want. Highly recommend that for practicing. So thank you so much. Please subscribe if you want to check out more lesson videos, or like the page, all the stuff. Really appreciate your support. We'll see you next time.